Hey everybody, what's going on? Jordan Connect here with another episode of Embrace the Chase, where we are interviewing well over 1,000 entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers, and you all are in for a treat today. We have Carrie Morgridge, who is the Chief Disruptor of the Morgridge Family Foundation, as well as a two-time author, and a whole slew of other stuff that I could go on from her LinkedIn, chairman of the board of a couple committees. You're all going to hear a lot tonight, but most importantly, you're going to hear about her new book that just launched. But Carrie, is there anything you'd like to add to that before we kind of dive into everything?
No, I'm just thrilled to be here and to meet you and to get on your show. Let's do this.
Likewise. Plus, I just want to say I love your title, Chief Disruptor. That's amazing. So let's talk about the very beginning of everything. So for everybody that's listening or watching right now, can you kind of talk to us about the Morgridge Family Foundation, how that all got started, and then what eventually led you to write your book, which is The Spirit of the Trail for those of you that are listening or watching. I'm going to have links down below so you can purchase it. And those of you that are listening, you can follow it on Amazon.com and probably Barnes & Noble as well, I'm assuming. Correct, Carrie?
Yeah, Amazon. Just Amazon.
Amazon, perfect. Yep. So Amazon.com, The Spirit of the Trail. But I'll go on ahead and hand it off to you.
So 27 years ago, a cute guy walked into a bar while I was working in San Francisco and asked me out on a date. Here we are married. That was October. In February, we were married. But it just so happened that his father had just taken a company public called Cisco Systems. So as we had our children and started getting on with life, his parents actually asked us if we would like to be interested in their foundation. And we slowly learned how to give away money until that we got to the point and large enough that we started our own 501c3. And in 2008, we launched the Morgridge Family Foundation. So we are the byproduct of Cisco Systems, giving them a shout out to all 80,000 employees who make my life great every single day. So, and by the way, Cisco is pretty much, that's what is routing us right now so that you and I can talk. It routes the internet.
That's all. My brother does Cisco stuff for Wright Pat Air Force Base, so I can't wait to tell him that I interviewed you.
There's always a connection. And from there, again, we started off small. You know, we made some failures with grants. And when I say failures, that just means that we could have done better. We could have touched more people. We could have touched more lives. That's what a failure in philanthropy means. But we don't really talk about it that often. And at our foundation, that's what we live by is let's talk about our failures first so we can fail fast, pivot, and move on. Just like your entrepreneurs do out there when they're starting their small businesses. Then once we had the foundation up and running, I also became an avid athlete. And I took on the challenge of doing my first Ironman when I was about 26 years old. And then I did one every year for the next 9 years. So I've done 9 Ironman as well. And so...
Are you talking a full Ironman where it's like a marathon, 110-mile bike, all that stuff?
So the way Ironman started, yes, sir, I did that. How the Ironman started was Army versus Navy in Oahu. They challenged them to swim across the Gulf right there. So that was 2.4 miles. And then they had to get off. They had to get out of the swim and then bike around Oahu, which was 112 miles, which sets our pace. And then from there, you have to run a marathon. So that was in 1977. So Ironman hasn't been around that long in America.
Wow.
I watched a friend do the world championships over in Kona. I got hooked, I got addicted, and the rest is history. So that led me to being able to bike across the country and why I wrote The Spirit of the Trail. So I had back surgery, so I'll never be able to run again. So imagine doing 9 Ironmans and then having the doctor tell you the reason your back hurts is that I've crushed my discs in my back because I ran so much.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a fusion a couple of years ago. So 6 months afterwards, you know, I went from fit to flabby because us workout girls, you know, we have our workout routines and I wasn't able to do that. So I asked my husband if I could go to fat camp and he said, absolutely not. What about if we bike across the country? So that's what we did. The Great Divide mountain bike route is one of the hardest mountain bike races in America. And it's a grassroots effort. This is what's kind of cool about it. It's totally grassroots effort. So there's no sponsors, there's no cheering fans. It's just for the glory of doing it and finishing it. So we just fell in love with that kind of grassroots, kind of nobody's watching us, and went unsupported. And what happened was, on my first book, Every Gift Matters, I wrote that about philanthropy. Because I truly believe that every person has a gift to give, whether it's a gift of time, a gift of volunteerism, a gift of mentoring. It doesn't have to be a big check to change the world. Mother Teresa didn't write a huge check, and neither did Gandhi, but they seem to have changed the world for the better. So when I had that book, I decided to blog about my journey through the Every Morgridge Family Foundation website and through the Every Gift Matters. And it was just such a great experience that my friends a year after the trip convinced me to turn it into a book.
That's awesome. That's really cool. But I completely agree with you that it doesn't always have to be money. It can be anything in any capacity. And I'm really excited about that because I'm going to, as soon as we finish this interview, go purchase that book and read it and start sharing it with all my audience.
Awesome. And I'd be happy to come back and talk to your audience about how their every gift can matter as well. So or we can do two birds with one stone today.
So the spirit of the trail, so you basically biked all the way across the country, and then when you finished it, what exactly is the premise of the book other than like overcoming obstacles, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the premise of the book really is, I hope, to inspire people to get out into nature, to get unplugged a little bit, and that even if you're not going to bike from Banff, Canada to Mexico on a mountain bike and crossing the Continental Divide 32 times or summiting 200,000 vertical in 46 days, you don't have to do it that way. I want people to understand that they could have just done Banff to Montana took us 4 days. Take 4 days, get on your bike, get unplugged, and just really, truly enjoy nature. And then we did 21 days of training. So I biked 650 miles in training, just 21 days before. And that's honestly all it took. Then you get out on the trail and you just do it. So I think that's really why I wanted to write this book, is to say that anyone can do it if you put your mind to it and you put your heart into it. But you have to commit. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is just committing.
So true.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how cool it must have been laying out, camping in the middle of Montana, looking up at the stars without any light ruining it for you.
Well, yeah, that would be the romantic picture. We would generally bike until about 7 or 7:30 at night. And then you're just so darn tired. You pitch your tent, you have your quick bite of food of whatever you brought, and then
that's out.
You go to bed. There was a day in New Mexico that this is a kind of an eerie feeling. We're used to comfort creatures or comforts, and about every other day we were in a town. For 2 days in New Mexico, we were never in a town. We never saw a human, and we never saw like a pickup truck or a telephone wire or anything. And after a couple of days of not being with any humans or anything at all, you start to psych yourself out a little bit. And that was magical and special. So we just got off and laid on the mossy grass and just looked up at the vastness of where we were. I mean, this is North America, and it's unbelievable. And it's not overpopulated. There are beautiful places to be seen.
What would you say was I wouldn't say largest obstacle, but the biggest challenge that you overcame when you were doing this entire event?
I didn't realize. So when you do Ironman, you start in the morning, you finish at night, done, right? 1 day. This was 46 days in a row. So imagine doing an Ironman and then getting back the next day, and then the next day, and the next day. Yeah. So I was really sore in places that we probably don't want to mention on your show, which you can imagine. And just getting on the bike. So what we realized, the biggest aha moment is how mental the Great Divide mountain bike route is, to continually do it every day. we saw a lot of people. So like you kind of meet people on the trail. About 1,000 people a year do the Great Divide mountain bike route. And so you would bump into people, or we would bump into people, and then eventually we would never see them again. Or a couple of times they would say, we're done. We can't make it any further. And generally this was single men. And I think doing it as a couple is so important. I don't care if it's a girl, guy, or a married whoever, but do it as do it with a partner, because there were days when John was having really hard days. My husband's name is John, and he was having a really hard day, and I was there to support him. There were other days I was having the hard day, and he was 100% there to support me. But just that support of like, should we slow down a little today, or can we pick it up? Do you have enough in your legs? Can we go another hour and a half? Those would be the questions we'd ask ourselves almost every night. Can you go another hour and a half after you've already been on the bike for 8 hours? Can you go 9.5 hours? Can you go 10 hours? So,
how many miles would you do in a day?
Our average was 60, but 3 days really messed us up. So 3 days we did between 30 and 40. The other days were between 65 and 75, on the averages. One day I just read the book on the plane again, because I have really enjoyed actually reading it. And I was reminding John, I was like, oh my God, there was a day, and for your bicycle people, your listeners out there who really love to bike ride. I mean, I'm a road biker. I'm used to going 20 miles an hour. One day in New Mexico, we rode 8.5 hours, and we covered 39.5 miles, less than 5 miles an hour. It was so hardcore, steep, vertical climb, and it was just a grind all day. So it was one of those points. Well, and our bikes also weighed 75 pounds. So our touring bikes are different from a road bike or a mountain bike. It's kind of like they're not even a combo. John and I both bought a Surly Ogre. I think they're made in Minnesota. And the Surly's, just the bike itself weighs 37 pounds. And then you got to put your panniers on it, and then you got to carry your water. So when we were in New Mexico in this brutally hard spot, I was also carrying 4 days worth of water in my bladders and on my bike. So
wow.
My bike was about 95 pounds.
That is crazy.
It was
all amped up though.
It was
like now that you've done that, you have to, I'm assuming some other time in your life you're going to go do some other crazy adventure, like sail around the world and write a third book.
I have a third book in me, but it's a different kind of book, and I think your audience will love it too. I've called it Courage Money.
Okay.
What's it about? Risks. It's about how to take a risk on a nonprofit. So
I like that.
There's a lot of people out there taking a lot of risks, whereas I don't feel our government should. We feel that our government, once you can prove that something works better than the government model, go for it. But until then, let's use our own money to figure out if we can fail, pivot, and fail again.
I agree. So when's that one coming out? 2019?
Nope.
I'm just playing. I'm excited. I'm excited for when that one comes out. But the Spirit of the Trail sounds absolutely amazing. So for those of you that are listening right now, we're going to kind of transition into how you can connect with Carrie. So like she said, you can buy her book on Amazon right now. I'm assuming, can you get it in an ebook as well, or is it just a paper copy?
We did do ebooks, so it's available on Kindle, ebooks. It's out there. And this is really important to me. 100% of the proceeds are going to Adventure Cycling Association. So those are the people who do all the maps. So I don't need any of the extra money. And so it's 100% going to them. As long as you buy it will go to them. And that is just going to create more maps and more trails for more people to get on and enjoy.
That's really cool. I like that. So then how else can people connect you in some way, shape, or form? Or does the foundation ever do events that people can attend? Or
we're working on that right now. I'm going to be up at this is the 20th anniversary for the Adventure Cycling Association for the Great Divide mountain bike route. And the foundation sponsored a small movie to be made. So they kick off June the 9th, because the race is always starts the first weekend of June. So in June, we'll start following the racers and following these movie guys as they produce the movie. So I'll be on the trail this year, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to take my RV and my husband and my dog. So I don't have to bike those brutal 90-mile days, but I'll probably be biking about 40 miles a day with the guys and having fun. And then they're doing free concerts at every small city that they stop in. Because one guy's an artist. He sings and plays the banjo. And then the other guy is a small movie producer. So we're really excited about that. And then I don't put a ton of events on my website, but go to morgridgefamilyfoundation.org. I also have a ton of videos on YouTube. As I was videoing, I was putting it on there. So my YouTube is Carrie Morgridge. I just wanted people to see what it was like and to see how awesome it is. Your first question was, what is it like to lay out and watch the stars at night? It's awesome. It's magical, but it's out there for everybody to take. It's just about taking that first step to getting on your bike or getting out of your comfort zone and getting into the wilderness. I mean, don't get eaten by a bear or anything, but that's what connect with me. And then I hope that I think the biggest, because the book just got launched on Cinco de Mayo, I haven't had that many questions of how do I, but at my most recent talk, what was so exciting to me is that a woman has already written me back to say, I've committed to hiking part of the Appalachian Trail this summer. So I don't care if you bike or hike, it's just getting out there. And then she wrote me like, hey, I'm not going to do it all in 1 year, but my husband and I are going to set these little goals. If that's what I can do for one person or 5 people or 10 people, I've won. Because it's just about having you feel good about yourself and getting out in nature and just reconnecting with what really matters.
I love it. That's so true. That's so true. I like that. I'm going to go home now and talk to my wife and figure out what we can go do outside.
Absolutely.
But I do want to respect your time. So again, for those of you that are listening, all the links on the video, you'll be able to click down below. Those of you that are listening audio, go to Amazon.com, or like she said, go look her up on YouTube, or you can check out the foundation's website, the Morgridge Family Foundation. Is it .org?
Yes, .org.
.org. Perfect. But Carrie, I'm going to ask you the last question I have everybody on the show answer, and that is there anything that's on your heart or on your mind right now that you really want people to know about?
Yes. You know, when we started this bike ride, I think you go into this wondering what's going to be the unexpected. What's the aha? What are you going to take away from this? And my aha was how I deeply fell in love with my husband again. We were doing this for our 25th wedding anniversary. And right from the beginning, we had to be kind to one another. We had to support each other. We had to be nice to each other. Not that we weren't, but, you know, day to day, you can get snippy and you know how life can be. So every day he lubed my chain. He scratched off he got all the dirt out of my chain. He filled up our water panniers, and he also cleaned purified our water when we needed to. In a hyper-connected world, I may not have even noticed his kindness, but out on the trail, I noticed it, and I never took him for granted, and he never took me for granted. And when I got home, I started to talk to my employees and my children differently. I showed a lot more compassion and a lot more kindness, just as I had done on the trail. And it's 2 years later since I've done the trail, and that hasn't changed for me. I'm no longer as snippy and as I used to be, as super intense. I've like really toned it down. And I think in the crazy world we're in right now, where there's a lot of not nice things going on, that's the one thing you can control, right? You can control if you're going to be kind or nice to somebody else. So just go out and do that once a day. I think you'll see that it comes right back to you.
That's phenomenal advice. And I didn't even know it's been 2 years since you've done the bike ride, so you can definitely tell that it's impacted you in many ways. But Carrie, thank you so much for being on. Again, those of you that are listening or watching, please go follow her, check her out, look up the YouTube, go to the website, buy the book. Both books, again, they are The Spirit of the Trail and Every Gift Matters. Carrie, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I just wanted to say to everybody, I hope to see you out on the trail.
I love it. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Bye.